That's the creator, artist problem number one on the list of 1,000. Having things all planned out. Who loves having it planned out? It's great. We're all made differently, and you're very talented at something that causes you, there's a reason you're like that. God made you different. In creativity, though, having it all planned out, it's gonna really hurt you in most cases. It just will. So moving from that, it's when we stop trying to control the tornado, the narrative, and just enjoy it and see what happens. This is really challenging for people. Set back and just try to let it happen is horrifying in a lot of ways. It's vulnerable. It's like standing naked on the stage. It is. Ask anyone of your creative friends. I mean, putting your work out there and just going with the flow and not having a plan, it is so vulnerable and so scary. So yes and is the idea, we say yes to the idea, the moment, and we take that opportunity instead of shutting it down out of fear. So that's what yes and is about. Here's a clip of Tina Fey explaining it. I didn't want to use the masterclass name, so I didn't get sued. So I found this on YouTube. This is Tina Fey. She was a master improver. It kind of explains it quickly here.
It has a lot of lessons in it. So, for example, stop. I've got a gun.
The gun I gave you for our wedding anniversary, Eric, how could you?
We're not married.
Aha, we're not married in denial. We've learned our first improv lesson. It takes a long time.
Let me start this one more time. Let me set it up. She's at Google, and he wants to do improv with her. So the very first line is, he's telling her, and with improv, you have to keep saying yes. You have to keep adding on to what's being said. The moment you say no or put up a wall, it dies. So watch this again.
It has a lot of lessons in it. So, for example, stop. I've got a gun.
The gun I gave you for our wedding anniversary, Eric, how could you?
We're not married.
Aha, we're not married is in denial. We've learned our first improv lesson. It takes a long time to learn those basic rules of improv.
So why don't you take us through them? And they're in the book.
Sure, they're in the book. Improv having really kind of changed my professional life and even sort of my worldview a little bit. There are some basic rules of improvisation. When you're creating something out of nothing, the first rule is to agree, which is to say yes, which we did do that successfully. You said, freeze, I have a gun, and I didn't say, that's not a gun, that's your finger.
Which is what a Google person would say.
Yeah, well, yeah. So we agreed. And the next rule is yes and, which is to add on to what you've already agreed upon. So the gun I gave you for our wedding anniversary, how could you? And then we hit a brick wall. There's an old story about Joan Rivers in 1959, 1960, and they use this in class at Second City all the time, that there was someone came in, said, I want a divorce, was the beginning of the scene. She said, I want a divorce, and whoever was with her on stage said, but what about the children? And she said, we don't have any children, which in the moment got a big laugh, but killed the scene.
So she's explaining, and this is for the creative, whether you paint, whether you write music, whatever, she's saying things are being thrown at you with what you do. Stop saying that. The weatherman is on, telling you you're going to die. What are you going to do? Creatively, we all live in a trailer. What are you going to do? You have a choice. Do you understand? Stuff is constantly coming at you. You have stuff constantly pushing that fear button, that button that says, this is not my plan, I'm sweating, this is not what they said it would be like, this is not what college taught me, this is not what they said writing a book would be like, this is not what they said this would look like, my paint isn't mixing properly, I hate my life, this is not it, this is not, Adobe is horrible, I can't edit, I can't get my movie done. There are so many ways to shut down the yes, and you are doing it. The choice has to be creatively, yes and.